So I've been in Denmark now for almost 3 months. And I have to say this. I've never felt safer in a country more than I feel here. Even more than my own country, South Africa. Cape Town specifically. I've never seen people so kind, so considerate, so human. They respect runners here. I'm a runner myself every morning. So I've been in Denmark now for almost 3 months. And I have to say this. I've never felt safer in a country more than I feel here. Even more than my own country, South Africa. Cape Town specifically. I've never seen people so kind, so considerate, so human. They respect runners here. I'm a runner myself every morning. There's small roads where I stay. It's on the countryside. I've never seen people who would drive on the other side just to avoid you. I go to a supermarket. I don't have to worry about people looking at me like I'm crazy, looking at my hair, judging me. South Africa is more racist.
From the statement that you made, I can tell that you have only experienced and know Cape Town. You have not lived outside of Cape Town. And we all know how different Cape Town is from the rest of the provinces in South Africa. Again, from this statement, it shows me that you seek continuously acceptance and validation from white South Africans, which you did not receive. So living in Western countries gives you that validation that you've sought all along. The problem with this is that you did not gain enough experience of living in that particular country to make that statement. But however, I'm going to help you with the experiences of those who have lived longer than you and who have a different skin tone from you.
And then I start to hear her saying China, China, China. It's like, that's okay. But I was like, it can't be China because in Danish, China is Kina. So, whenever I was looking for my stuff, which happened to be the shelf next to her. And then she started just saying, it was hard to understand what she was saying in the beginning, but then I heard her clearly say, China, 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 all bad things come from China. What the fuck, right?
So what happened was I was going to go to the bank with my grandfather, and it was during COVID time, so I didn't want my brother to go inside the bank because, social distancing and everything. And so he was like, I'm just going to wait right here outside the bank. And I was like, sure, you can do that. While he was waiting there outside the bank, I was waving to him and stuff, and I could see that this woman walked over to him and they began talking together. And I was like, okay, as long as he doesn't get kidnapped, it's fine. After we're done with the bank, we get back to the car and I sit in the car and we're driving and I'm just thinking, I wonder what that woman told him. And so I asked my little brother, I'm like, what did that woman say to you? What did you talk about? This woman was fucking racist and told my 9-year-old little brother that he's an immigrant and he should get back to his own country and fuck off and stop using the Danish system for his own living.
Do you notice how these people are different from you? From the texture of their hair and the skin tone? Yet, however, they manage to experience racism, or rather discrimination, from the same people that you're praising within 3 months of knowing them. Meanwhile, these people have known them longer than that. The validation and acceptance that you're continuously chasing, you will never find it. You will only find it temporarily and then escape to another place to just feel that acceptance and validation that you seek from them. It never goes away. The problem is that you're seeking external validation from the same people who cause the chaos that you experience from within. While also they're trying to touch your hair, touch your skin, they have this fetish and this animalistic behavior of thinking about other black people while they treat you as some sort of a pet that they haven't seen. And you mistake that for acceptance and love and appreciation while they treat other people like that. Also, bashing your own people in a foreign country, whenever something happens to you, who are you going to run to? Who is going to help you? Because that is not your motherland. That is not your home. You are a foreigner, an immigrant living in a system that's completely different, that caters differently from the one of your own. So when you throw your people under the bus without having enough experience with your own fellow black people, your own fellow South Africans, to disclose such information about us, wherever you are in the world, raise the flag of your country proudly, especially in white people's spaces, because that screams to them that you don't love yourself, you hate your own people, and you're constantly seeking validation, and you constantly want to be among them so that they can be accepted by you. Nobody wants such a clingy person. Nobody wants that type of person around them, knowing how white people think. They don't even want black people who are literal lapdogs who worship them. Honestly, you can't read between the lines when you are a worshipper. It's sort of like it blinds your eye from actually seeing people for who they are, and you glamorize this idea of them in your head. Obviously, being a black woman with afro and a darker skin with fuller lips, and her features and her body completely being different from that of Danish women, that would lure in Danish men so that they can explore her. And I ain't saying this in a negative way, but white men have a history of doing this. And also, it is easier for a man to manipulate a woman who has low self-esteem anyway, who already holds him in high regard and can never see wrong in whatever he does. So what she's doing is actually very harmful to herself, because immediately when they gawk their eyes at you and they make this and they want to take pictures of you, why are you doing that? It's so uncomfortable, you know? I would rather deal with someone that I know that clearly doesn't like me. They're not gonna pretend to my face that they like me. I mean, what does she think that they think about Africans? Because they never hold us in high regard. Because as a foreigner, you don't know much, you're still new about the culture, the history, the tradition of that area and their particular way of thinking. You're bound to think that their curiosity is that of love and interest, while they see you as an exotic experience that they want from Africa. I mean, if they can treat non-black people like that, what do you think they're gonna do to you? Like, there is so much truth in this comment. All of this started with an increase of demand from Italian men seeking to explore African women, which Nigerians took advantage of in the late 90s. Edo women started going to Italy to buy golden beads in the early 1980s and saw a thriving market in prostitution. In Edo State, a southern Nigerian hub for human trafficking, many girls began their journey into prostitution willingly. Most have little clue of the nightmare to follow. I want to go to Italy because I want to make money, she said. If it is prostitution, I will do it. Because of the negative concept that Nigerians supplied Italian men with in connection with their demand for supplying African women to them, created this stigma which follows African women to this day. To this day, where whenever an Italian man comes into contact with an African woman in Italy, he is with this assumption that you are a prostitute. Hence, he would ask you questions like, "Ciao bella, quanto costa?" As in, "Hi beautiful, how much is it?" Where also he would give you a false impression that he is into you while he's trying to experience this exotic woman in front of him. Because let's be honest, that's what they call us, exotic women with exotic bodies. So while you think that this Italian man is into you, he's trying to sleep with you. Whenever you go abroad as an African woman, these are the things that you would come across, not just in Italy, because the prostitution market is so much in demand of African women, especially in Europe where they can explore their fantasies. And to think that white people see us as subhumans and you're there praising them, so funny. You be there thinking this white man in Europe loves me. And what he's trying to do also is trying to breed you, trying to also manipulate you, and also trying to control you. We can see also what happens to mixed children in Italy. Not just that, but Europe in general, where they call them half Shima, like monkey. Yeah? Where you'd also find this Italian man trying to sleep with his own kid that he created with his African women. Can we talk about that? Or you guys... yeah, ne? I'm going to tell you something that you probably haven't heard in your life. And I want you to understand and understand me. Even if I dreamt of having a Nigerian man as a life partner, the men in my family will literally strip me of everything I've ever built in my family. Strip me away from everyone I've ever known and care about in my life. Second, what would be the point of being with one in the first place when I know that is a waste of my time and it will end up nowhere? Lastly, this also shows me that you're new on my page. So, Mom, you don't have a problem getting other nations, but you have a problem with Nigeria. Okay. Now, it's not me. It's your fellow Nigerian men who created this stigma for you. That is to say that my people are more likely to accept the bride price from a man from Namibia than they are from a man in Nigeria. Sincerely and honestly, relax yourself. You want to describe my family as primitive hate Mongols because they said they don't like Nigerians or they don't want to be associated with Nigerians. Everybody has a right to their autonomy. Now, I'm not going to give some male members of my family the opportunity to seize what is mine by birthright by using loopholes such as that one. The society that we live in, unfortunately, is not fair to women. You ought to know this as a Nigerian man. As an Igbo man, you ought to know this yourself. In an Igbo culture and system and traditional wedding system, it says that the firstborn child ought to be married first before the other siblings, which also means that the third cannot be married before the first. You also have a system that talks about knowing the type of family that you marry into before you marry into that family. Now, if Ikenna's family do not like Ozona's family based on personal interests, traditional differences, and area of differences, then they ought the right to not even support that marriage to begin with. Why do you make that system exclusive to mine in South Africa? Or did you think that I don't have any idea of what is happening? You ought to know that I educate myself on many different levels. Mind you, I wasn't even talking about Nigerians in the first place. I was talking about Italian men. You happened to enter the conversation mainly because you are the supplier to the Italian market. Now, the basis of all of those things that you mentioned, it happens entirely on your own in Nigeria, especially when we come to Yoruba. On things that don't even make sense, like rice. They don't know how to cook, they don't know how to do that, they don't know how to do this. You criticize other people. Problem is that you don't like to be criticized and be told. Now, as a female child, I'm going to do what is necessary to protect what is mine. And the heavens and the universe knows that I don't play with what is mine. Just imagine if I had to forfeit all of that because of a Nigerian. Besides of them being a Nigerian, I don't think and feel that a man would come between me and that is what is mine. Man ought to come between me and that which I hold precious. So deal with your own in-house problems, just like I deal with my own in-house problems. I talk about white South African men. I talk about men in general. I talk about them mainly because of their disinterest in women, other than the fact that they need to utilize their bodies. Because women distinctively are more than that. You see how I never even touched about the substance market that you're in, which is the drug market. I only talked about human trafficking since this whole thing started. And also, lastly, I'm gonna criticize you the same way I criticize white men, because you allowed yourself to be the scapegoat for white people in this country. You allowed yourself to do the job that they used to do privately, because they used to be the supplier of what you are now supplying. For that, I'm going to criticize you. For that, I'm going to hold you accountable.